All right. What I want you to do now is, these are the things that we've covered so far. And as I told you, we've just touched the surface, right? We haven't done deep dive into anything per se. I mean, yes, we did Linux quite a bit. You have a reference for Linux command. We did GitHub, not GitHub actually. I would not call it GitHub because we haven't seen a lot about GitHub. The only thing that we've seen about GitHub is to create repositories. There's a lot more to GitHub, like GitHub Actions are there. GitHub has its own REST services that you can use to invoke. So a lot more is there in GitHub. We haven't touched GitHub at all. We did Git. So we'll leave GitHub there because we saw how to create a repository in GitHub and then pull all of that from GitHub, right? In Maven, somebody tell me, what did we do?
Plugins dependency.
Okay, so we saw, first of all, we saw how to create a project using archetype, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this or you don't remember? We can.
Yes.
Yes, I remember.
Okay, next we created
Plugin.
multi-module. You remember this module project? This is that Maven project which has
Yes.
code and
Yes.
web console and all that, right? That is the one created multi-module project and saw how to build it. What else did we do?
Branches.
Maven plugin.
Repositories local environment.
Created Maven plugin and
Enforcer plugin.
yeah, created Maven. Well, I did not show you how to create an enforcer rule, but I told you how to go about doing it, right? I had asked you to do it as part of your assignment, if you remember.
Yes. Maven and some rules, right? Maven plugin and rules.
Correct. Created hello world, basically. Maven plugin to explain about goals, phases, etc. You remember, right? We can create multiple, and I asked you to go ahead and modify the hello world plugin to add based on parameters so that you'll be able to pass configuration to it, so on and so forth. I'm not sure how many of you did this. It's a very important assignment that you should do if you've not done it. Okay, take from where we started. Yeah.
You asked us to go through rules as well.
Rules, yeah. I've also asked to. I said create assignment to create okay. Then
created a test project to invoke plugin.
Yeah, created test project to use the custom we also you also did install Maven, correct? You know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then install Java also, you know how to do that. Because Maven cannot work without Java. And I think you did Java 11 and 17. And anything I'm saying, please say no to it, okay? If you are not able to refresh your memory that we did it, please say no so that I can mark or annotate it there, and then we'll revisit it.
Somebody had an issue having Maven work with 17. I think that was Jyoti.
But she fixed it, I believe, after I responded.
Yes,
She fixed it
I
by
fixed it and I have practiced it.
Yes.
fixed it by downgrading to Java 11, right, Jyoti?
Yes, Java 11.
Yeah, 17 also should work. I mean, I'm using 17. So if you want to try it again, you should be able to. Okay. I don't see a reason why it should not work.
Okay.
I have been using 17. I mean, the latest version in the EC2 instance that you guys are using is 17. So you should be good there. Until and unless you know how to install Java, how to install Maven, and how to ask for the version of Maven and validate that Java and Maven has been installed correctly. I think you also did setup environment variables and path, correct? All right, and then we saw usage of
Maven lifecycle.
correct usage of settings.xml, then distribution management, dependencies, or dependency management,
Profiles.
profiles. You saw everything in Maven, yeah. Profiles,
EBOM.
settings-security. You saw that, how to create master password,
Password.
create encrypted password, and use in settings-security.xml. You saw you saw how to do Maven deploy too, right?
Mhm. To JFrog.
Different phases or different deploy, build and deploy Maven artifacts to JFrog artifactory. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You also saw there was one plugin that you saw, which was I had asked you, the assignment was given to look at other Maven plugins. I mean, I didn't tell you which ones, but I will mention here quite a few of them. This is okay, right? I mean, in the end, when you look at the video, you'll not get the text. Are you okay with that, or do you want me to put it in a textual form?
I think text will be better, Samir.
Text will be better.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we'll do is we will draw here so that you can see a big picture, because I want you to see the big picture, right? The intent of these sessions is big picture. But at the same time, I will put it up into Note. You will not be able to see my monitor because I have two monitors now. Maven, this is what we did. Okay, I'm capturing notes, but just remind me as soon as I go to the next one. Okay, so assignment, you have to look at different plugins. Like you should look at, I think you also did version set, right? Looked at how to update version from snapshot to release and back using that command. Also looked at MVN. Remember anything?
Commit.
Merging branches.
Yes, that will be in Git, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Assignment was given to look at other Maven plugins like version plugin, Maven version plugin. There's a lot of things in Maven version plugin, not just set, revert, and commit, right? I mean, I don't remember it is a version or versions. Give me a second, let me check. I think it's Maven version only, but I'll just verify. versions. You should be able to search for it. Why do I put it here, right? Maven versions plugin, what else? Maven dependency plugin, Maven assembly plugin, Maven jar plugin. And the jar reminds me that we did looked at how to create a manifest file in jar using Maven jar plugin to make it executable jar. Remember this, especially for Docker. Remember we had done this. Don't remember?
Docker Maven, Maven Docker plugin.
Not Maven Docker plugin. When we created that Docker Java sample something, right?
Right,
Jar,
right, yes. Mhm.
to make it executable jar, you have to
Right.
create a manifest file with the name of the main class in there. That is the one I'm talking about. Used Docker file Maven plugin to create Docker image as part of the install / deploy Maven phases. So install stores it locally on your Maven instance, Maven engine, and deploys it to the JFrog artifactory. Okay, what else? What else did we do? So technically, we've done quite a lot of run in Maven if you really look at it. Jar or deploy, we have to see. All plugin. There's a lot more. Okay, I can just go on and on. You can even ask Jyoti to check what are the other plugins that you guys are using in the company that she works in, and or even Mansa if they're using Maven. Find out what other plugins they use and just do some research on it, because that way you are able to know what people use in a real world, right? So let me copy this and I'll go here. Okay, so that was about Maven. Okay, I'm going to make it smaller over here and then move to okay, anyway, I have text for you, so that should not matter a lot. Okay. In AWS. Okay, question. Do you think revising and helping you refresh your memory, is that a good exercise to do, or do you want to move next?
Exactly, Samir. It is revising everything and we are learning a lot.
So you feel it's a good exercise, right? I just don't want you to feel that we are wasting time doing this and you already know all of this. I'm just trying to refresh you that we've done so much in last 1 month. It's all onto you now. That you try to remember it, you try to refresh it, you try to link a similar topic in this world, try to find out. The whole goal of me showing you how to write a plugin was so that you go and research on the plugins. You do not have trouble doing it. You understand what a goal is. You understand what a configuration is. You understand what execution is, because you've already written a plugin. Nothing is over and above that, right? So any other plugin, you should be able to do it. Or you have a problem, try to Google and find out which plugin will solve that problem. Okay, so that's the learning for Maven that more than anything else over here, right? Knowing how to update user settings file, knowing how to use an encrypted password, knowing that if there's an encrypted password, there has to be a settings-security.xml. That is it. Any questions on Maven so far? Do you think we have done justice to Maven? There's a lot more that I can keep doing in Maven, okay? But I don't want to, because in this world, in the world of Maven, I want to talk about, so this is basically build tool, okay? Build tool. So I'm going to cut off this because we already have this in. Okay, so in this world of build tools, I want you to tell me a couple more that you've either heard from me saying it, which are similar.
And you said one previous to Maven. Gradle, right?
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just.
I remember you listing it out, but I can't refresh my memory. And then Gradle, that's it.
Sure. Anybody else? Anybody else knows? So these are primarily, there's another one called make.
And one thing you highlighted between Ant and Maven is the transient dependencies, right? Within
Yeah,
Ant, you
so-
have to bring in everything.
Right, so you
Maven-
have to manually bring in everything in Ant. In Maven, you have transitive dependencies, right? No,
Transitive. I
Yeah.
was saying transient. Okay.
well, I mean, it's transitive is derived from transient only. So that means if A gets B, and if B gets C, then A gets C automatically.
Right.
Right. In Gradle is a lovely build tool. We can go through it sometime if needed, but not now. The only reason I'm giving you the verticals is if at all anybody comes and says, oh, we are doing everything in Make, you should immediately know that I've done Maven and it should be something similar to Maven. Okay, no, don't take it in the real sense that it is going to be exactly same as Maven, but the purpose is to build. How you build is a different thing altogether, right? But the purpose is to build. There are others which are primarily for UI projects. There is node /npm, which is not only for building, but they do get build tools out of this. There is grunt, which is also for node. There is gulp, which is also for node. There is webpack, which is given to you. It is also for node, but it is primarily used for all this modern like Angular and React.js and all of that, right? So why do we need all of this? Can't we do everything over here in Maven? Maybe you can, but these guys have done it very, very simple. Okay, for example, you want to combine the JavaScript file, you want to lint a JavaScript file or TypeScript file, you want to combine CSSs, you want to compress the CSSs. Can't you do all of that in Maven? Maybe yes, there are plugins probably to do that, but these tools were built to do all of that, which is specific to UI. Okay, so anytime you hear about this tooling, remember me and remember this lesson over here that you should not get overwhelmed by it if somebody says you have to do something in Make. Okay, so eventually I will give you assignment. Like I don't want to give you assignments on things that are not related. Eventually I will give you assignment. For example, I already started it, right? I gave you something on Jenkins, but Jenkins is already part of our syllabus. It is not out of a syllabus, but I might give you assignment on Make. I might give you assignment on gulp and grunt and webpack, or I can say, go install Node.js and npm and do something over there, okay? Which are not part of our syllabus, but we would just touch it and do it so that you feel comfortable when you get it, okay? All right. Another assignment might be go get me some more tools that are build tools, okay? So I will put it as an assignment for you anyway. If you can do it, just do it. If you don't do it, it's fine. Right? Okay. Any question on build tools? Anybody? No? Okay. Let's move to AWS. I mean, we haven't done a lot in AWS, but tell me what all you remember.
Creating EC2 instance.
Okay.
Here.
Security group.
You have seen this, right? Inbound rules. We enabled it for SSH.
Yes.
Okay.
You
Anything else?
created a
that you
key
saw?
pair, right, Samir? Key pair.
Yes. Create key pair and use the key pair and creating EC2 instance. Anything else that you saw?
SSH connectivity instances.
Sorry?
SSH connectivity.
Yeah. So connecting to EC2 instance using SSH client. Briefly touched on private and public subnets. We didn't talk about private and public subnets, as in we didn't go and see and assign it, but we said anything that is created in private subnet doesn't have an internet gateway, and a public subnet has an internet gateway. The instances that are created in private subnet do not get a public IP address because they just cannot be accessed outside the VPC or AWS networking, I would say, because if you do VPC peering, you should be able to. And any instance that are created in public could potentially have a public IP unless you suppress it. Okay, so we did talk about that.
Golden image.
Yeah,
Golden
so
image.
we AMI, create AMI. In the document, it's there how to do this. Okay, I haven't done it for you, but it's there in there. I think pretty much it. I mean, I don't think so. We have done anything more in. Oh yeah, we did create 2 EC2 instances and use one of them as jump server / bastion host. You remember the EC2 instance 1 was acting as a bastion host where we could go in there and then SSH to the EC2 instance 2 yesterday?
Yes.
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 Okay, so that is the one. Let me take a note of this and
That you achieved using inbound rule, right, Sam?
yes. Yeah, so we used a different security group for it. And in one of the inbound rule, we used the security group of the instance 1 to allow access only to that instance. Okay, AWS. This is what we have done. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Let's get rid of it. When you talk about AWS, basically we are saying it's cloud tech. In cloud tech, tell me some other cloud tech that you know of, or cloud vendors that you know of.
Azure. Azure.
Azure, Google.
Google Cloud.
Hold on, okay. What's happening with this line? All right, doesn't want to get straight. Really? Okay, there you go. Okay, so you said Azure and Google. The list goes on actually. Even Oracle has its own, I believe. I've never looked at Oracle and Red Hat, but so anybody says PCF, right? That's what Pivotal Cloud Foundry. Many people call it as PCF. All right.
Something called as Alibaba Cloud.
Yeah, there's Alibaba Cloud also. I haven't used it, but it is there. Yeah, the whole reason that I'm putting these verticals over here, just because not everything is part of our syllabus, right? But when you go out in the industry and people start talking to you about it, don't get overwhelmed. I mean, there's at least one thing that you've potentially done. Yes, we haven't done a lot of justice to AWS. We will do it. We will consider it part of our syllabus and we'll complete it. But similar tech will be used everywhere else that you go. Okay. All right. Any questions on this? No questions because we haven't really done a lot in AWS yet. Okay, let's move to GitHub. When you say GitHub, what are we talking about?
Distributed.
Source
Oh,
code
source.
management, right? Or SCM.
This one in particular is distributed source control.
Yeah, that's a
Source code.
distributed SCM. But there are others which people used to use, SVN, Team Foundation, Server, or TFS. We have to talk about what we've done under that before that, okay? So what else? Anybody else knows anything? There's GitLab. There's Bitbucket. Anything else? I think that's pretty much it. There might be more, but these are leaders, I believe. Now what I want to know is...
None of these are distributed somewhere except GitHub.
Well, GitLab, I mean, GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket are Git. All of them are Git. So they're all distributed. Okay, so I will remove this from here like that. It's GitHub that we're talking about. And I will put GitHub over here because these are all. Oh, shoot. Okay. These all three are Git. Okay. Now coming to Git, tell me what all you remember you've learned.
Creating a repository. Branch.
Clone, right?
Cloning.
Rename branch, you remember? -m command. What else?
Origins.
remote, correct?
-v.
All right. We talked about overall distributed system basically with origin and somebody pulling from someone else, right? Talked about overall distribution. Remember this, we created this using git init --bear. Yeah. Added remote repository.
Did we use bear option?
What is that?
Did we use bear option?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We did. This was when we were creating the whole remote locally, wherein I told you many people think that we need to have GitLab, Bitbucket, GitHub to work with Git. You don't need to. You
Right.
can completely create the remote locally, and then you can clone from your own remote sitting on your own machine, or you can even give your IP address to somebody else and they can clone from yours bear instance. We did a whole demo for it actually. Yeah, touch on that. If you've not, you should be able to find it. What else did we see? We saw create name tag and push the tag to GitHub. If you don't remember, please go back. We saw how to check out to a named tag /commit hash. Reset. Remember this? Soft, hard.
Yes.
Remember that? I said rebase, revert, reset, try to avoid it, especially revert and rebase. Reset is local, so that's fine, but at least revert and rebase you should avoid, especially when there are many people who are working on your repository. We also looked at using beyond compare to do diff to be used as diff tool and merge tool, right? I also showed you the configuration, I believe, and I don't know whether you've done it or not, but it's a very important thing when you go to work, would be required. There are many more things we did it, but kind of slipping on my mind right now. You remember? Merge we did, right? Cherry picking we did. Didn't we do that?
I remember merged commit, Samir. I don't know about cherry pick. Can't recall.
Anybody remembers about cherry pick? Anybody remembers about cherry pick?
Yes, we can pick one commit, whatever we want by executing this cherry pick command.
Yeah. So since you don't remember, Romana, what we do usually is, let's see if I have something here.
That's okay, Samir. I can go back to videos, recordings.
Well, that's, I don't remember showing it to you in the sessions. It's a very simple thing. Get status. You see here. What is it? Git branch. We are on main. So if you create a new branch, let's say git checkout -b test cherry pick. There's a new branch for you. It doesn't have to be cherry pick, okay? It can be any name. And then I will go back to main. And then I'll just do a small change. Let's see what change we can do. Maybe readme file. Yeah, there's no readme, there's a readme file. So what I'll do is I'll do echo this. This is cherry pick test, and I'll just send it to test.txt file. Okay. That's the test.txt file. All right. What I will do is I will do a git commit -am testing cherry pick. So it's a normal commit basically. I'm committing a file. Oh, git add, because am is only for. Okay, this reminds me. We also talked about tracked, untracked, tracked, modified, untracked, modified files, so on and so forth, right? Git add dot. So it is added. Okay, so if I do a git status, there's nothing. It is saying push. I'm not going to push it. I will want to revert it. Okay, but before I revert it, let me go to that cherry pick branch. And over here, if you see, there is no test.txt file, correct? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this commit hash. Where is the commit hash? Where I committed. I think it's this one, but I just want to get a confirmation on that. Okay, give me 1 second. Git checkout main. And git log should tell you what is the commit hash. Yeah, that was the right one. I was looking at BE3A, right? That's the one. I just wanted to confirm it. So that's the one, testing cherry pick, correct? So I'll go to git checkout test. And then I want to cherry pick that particular commit hash and apply it to this branch. That's the whole concept about cherry pick. So I'll do a git cherry pick, paste. Now, if you look ls-lrt, it is there. See that?
Mhm.
Okay. Then git checkout main. I'll go back, and then I want to delete the branch, the test cherry pick branch. How do I do that? We saw this also, right?
Yes. Git branch -b and then
Yep.
branch name.
Correct. So we did git branch -d branch name. Okay. Then I want to revert the change that I've done over here. Revert this. Okay. So git revert. And revert testing just to WQ and done. So if you do a git log now, you'll see another commit hash on top of this, which is revert. So this is reverting. You see that this was commit, this was revert. So now if I do ls-lrt, there should not be test.txt file. So I've reverted a commit. Okay, so far, is everything clear?
Yes.
Let's move back. Reset, you guys remember, right? The soft, hard, medium reset.
I do.
Okay, good. I'm pretty sure I've covered it. If not, please look at the lessons. And did anybody try to go to YouTube and watch this video? Anything in the quality of the videos, or it's uneasy over there? Like, you don't feel comfortable.
Video quality is good, Samay, but voice is a bit low when
Voice is
compared
low.
to these sessions. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, are you sure you increased the volume? Because I was able to hear it well. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Did Romana, you also feel the same?
No, Samir, I don't feel the thing.
It was fine.
Except
Anybody else watched? I'm able to hear it well, actually. Jyoti? Was it Jyoti or Mansa?
Yeah, Jyoti.
Mansa or Saujanya, did you go through it?
yeah, I went through Samir. For me, it's good.
Yeah, for me also it's okay. Samir.
For you also, it's good, Mansa, or you didn't check?
Yes, Samir. I did. It's
Okay.
good for me also.
Like and subscribe.
Sure.
I did it. I did it already. I like
Yeah.
all the videos.
Yeah, I mean, they are not so good videos to like them actually, but it's fine. We are only 4 of us, so that's okay. It's for us. I mean, what I want to understand is I can continue. I did go ahead and buy 100 more GB for Google Drive. So I don't have a problem adding it to Google Drive for another couple of videos. It's just that it keeps adding, and if it, which one do you prefer? That's the question, basically. Don't worry about the cost. Which one do you like? The only reason I liked YouTube was because I could, stop it in between, go and then come back. If I'm already logged in, it'll keep that bookmark for me, wherever I stopped last. That's what I liked. I mean, on the normal machine, I don't know what you use, but if you close it, the next time you open it, you have to start from from the beginning. You cannot start from where you left, unless you know what tool you're using. I mean, at least I don't know how to do it locally. All right. What is this? Be right back. Okay. So
I think we can also download from YouTube directly.
you are able to download it? I don't know.
No,
whether
we can't download.
you can?
No, we can't.
You can't
No,
download, yeah, unless you have some hack for it. Yeah, I mean, my question would be, do you really want to download and keep it on your machine? Or do you prefer to just go online wherever you are, like, you're traveling or you're in some class or wherever? I felt YouTube is a place that you could just go and watch whenever you want to watch. That's the whole reason. You don't have to download and increase the space on your machine. That was the whole intent. If you want me to copy it on a pen drive and give it to you someday, we can do that. So that way, you don't have it in several places downloaded. But anyway, that's not part of the lesson. Let's go back to where we were. We were here. Okay, this is container. Container. So what are the different container? Is Docker the only one, or do you know any other? It's Cryo. There's Rocket, RKT. There are several more actually. Okay, but CRI is getting a lot of traction. CRIO in terms of the container tooling. Okay, so what I want to know is, what have you learned in Docker so far?
Samir, is Docker soon going to be deprecated?
Docker, I don't think it is going to be deprecated. There might be less users eventually. Docker is fundamentally one of the best containers that I've seen. Okay, but they did have some problems around their licensing, and they were not able to make money as a company, so on and so forth. I mean, but recently there was a news that Docker used to be the default container system on Kubernetes, and they've actually changed that, and they've moved to, I think, Cryo. I might be wrong there, but that's what it is. So everybody thought Docker is gone. Docker is not gone. The default is changed. You can still go deploy Docker images onto Kubernetes. You can still use Rocket images on Kubernetes, but just the default has changed to cryo, I believe. And I might be wrong there. Okay. I mean, if you go read about it, and if it's not cryo, don't blame me for it. But it is not Docker is what I can tell you with the latest version of Kubernetes. So one thing you should know is, since Docker is the leader, everybody who comes is almost following the same rule as to what Docker does. Okay.
So switching to any of the other containers should be pretty easy.
Should be easy. Should not be too tough.
Okay.
The language might change a little bit. The syntax might change, but shouldn't be too tough. Personally, have I done it? No, I haven't done it yet. Never needed it.
Okay.
All right. Tell me what you learned in Docker.
Installation. Docker build a container list. Docker file. To build
Create a new Docker file to
the images. Multi-stage Docker file. Volumes and mounts.
volume mapping.
Entry point.
Arguments, then entry
Command
point.
versus command and
Command.
entry point. Environment variable. Upon assignment, explore build kit. Shelling to Docker. Docker Compose was a part of assignment.
Docker container, network ls, Docker network create. We saw that, right? And
Docker Compose
Docker.
was part of assignments. And,
Yeah, you did it.
I went over it, but I didn't do it. But I got the concept why we use it.
So many more, right? I think the most important assignment that I had over here for you guys was
Caching the layers.
caching
Image
and build, right?
Yeah, caching build image layers.
Build tool, what was that?
Build layers, image layers.
No. There was a spec,
Yeah,
right? What build
build
tool?
kit. Build kit.
Build kit. Okay.
Docker build
This
kit.
was another one that you had. The other one was Docker file best practices documentation was shared.
Docker Compose.
Docker file components from copy, head, etc. You had to go through them, and then there was a Docker install and usage. That should be pretty much it. I mean, you should be able to go to any Docker course and be able to follow it very well now that you know all of this. Okay, what else? This should be it, right? With Docker. Looks like everybody's got board already.
No, sir.
What do we have? Windows, Linux, Mac OS, right? That's what we have. I don't want to go through each and everything we did in Linux because you have a book with you, which you're going through, correct?
Yes.
We did look at commands like xarg. We looked at commands like awk, grep. You guys did assignment on it, right? And then wget and curl and pwd for present working directory, ls, change mod, change owner, all of those, right? And I would seriously insist, complete that book. Okay, and try to create your own list of important commands as a 1-page or a 2-page list. If you want to consider it as an assignment, yeah, you can, but more than an assignment, that's something that should stay with you. Like you keep referring to those commands if you don't understand what the syntax is. Best is you get used to those commands, but it's not easy, right? I mean, unless and until you do it day in and day out. So if you have awk, you don't understand the syntax. If you have a tr for transformation, you don't understand the syntax, please go through those commands, write them somewhere, keep looking at them, keep using them as much as you can. Okay, that is it for operating system. What is Terraform?
Infrastructure as code.
Infrastructure as code. The other one that I know of is Pulumi. There might be more. Just find out. There's one more if I remember, but I don't remember the name. So in Terraform, just talk. What did we do? We talked about 2 important things or 3 important things: providers, resources, data sources. We talked about data sources for only reading of existing resources. We talked about create, read, update, delete, CRUD for resources. For providers, we said every single, any system that you want to interact with Terraform, if they have APIs, you might end up lucky that somebody has already written a provider for that those APIs. If you elevate your level to an advanced level, you potentially might be able to write a provider by yourself if you learn Golang. I mean, I'm personally trying to learn Golang right now, okay? So that if I want to, I would be able to write Terraform providers for systems that are not already taken care of. So what you need to understand from there is every system potentially will have a provider. And when we do a Terraform init, the providers and the modules, we haven't looked at modules, we will look at it as we move forward, but Terraform providers and modules gets downloaded. Do you want me to make notes of it, or do you think we are good?
Yeah, good, Samir.
Okay. So the reason is we haven't got so much into Terraform, similar to AWS, right? So I don't want to make too many things over there. Groovy also, we haven't done too much. JFrog also, the only thing that we've done is created repositories for Docker and for Maven. Okay. That is it. That's the big spectrum what we have. What is pending to be done? Ansible.
Kubernetes. Yeah, Kubernetes.
Can I get rid of this, or I'll just clean this up, okay? You don't need this as an image or whatever, right?
No.
While watching video, you can take an image
Yep.
if you want to.
Yeah.
So let's get rid of it. What is it that we really have to do now? We have to do,
Kubernetes.
yes, before we get to Kubernetes, we have Ansible as a configuration management tool. We have Docker we already done, but we are going to go to Jenkins immediately. Jenkins is a big world that we have to go through. Then finally, we will go to Kubernetes. And when we get, what's that?
Helm charts.
Once we go to Kubernetes, we will look at Helm charts. And this Helm file. We'll look at those things. That should be pretty much it, right? The whole spectrum. In Kubernetes, there's a lot more that we can do. There's a huge tooling which is available in Kubernetes. There's ASTO service mesh. There is Nginx ingress controllers that we might have to look at. There's Canico to build images in. There is Jenkins X, which runs within Kubernetes. There is Kubernetes Jenkins plugins that you can integrate with Jenkins to use Kubernetes as a worker node instead of having dedicated EC2 instances as the worker node. So there's a whole world of tooling basically which will open up when we start looking in Kubernetes. Kubernetes is a huge mission to complete. Okay, even if you take it up by yourself, targeted as a certification, I don't think you'll be able to complete it in 2 months. For example, if you go for CKA, Certified Kubernetes Administrator, dedicatedly putting in 2 to 4 hours every day, I don't think so you'll be able to complete it in 2 months. Okay, so there is no way I will be able to go in the depths of Kubernetes. We will try as much as possible. But what I would suggest, this is what I was thinking just today morning, is I would suggest you to take, so that you feel the value for the course that you've taken with me, right? I would suggest you to take a couple of certifications. Okay, one is AWS Certified Solution Architect. Okay, if you can associate, if you can take it, take it. If you can take CKA, CKAD, Terraform, Ansible Jenkins has, but I don't want you to take that. I think if you're able to get this certifications out of your code, we are looking at April. If you target for end of the year to complete this 4 certifications, I think I will feel that you're taking something with you as part of this sessions that we had, because then you would be able to come talk to me if there's any trouble, anything that you're not understanding, and in the end, you will feel that, oh, I have four certifications to be added into my resume. And certifications do not really get you a job, okay, but they at least get you an interview. When you have certifications mentioned on your resume, they at least get you an interview call. After that, it's all on to you, how your interview goes. So anybody wants to commit to any of the certifications?
Like to take Kubernetes certification.
You would want to. So let's go ahead and create these resources.
Oh, to skip that yes thing, approval.
Yes. Okay, for Ansible, the documentation is pretty neat. So let's go to Ansible docs. Even if you're not able to complete everything in the next 30 minutes, I would want you to follow this documentation. Documentation, they have changed their site a little bit. Installation getting started. So let's go to installation first. Okay, let's see if this guy is ready. Yeah. So instance one, we'll take it as, so before we go there, right? I mean, let's see if we can look at the overall diagram. I think we talked about it a bit yesterday about controllers, and it allow me to create a new tab. Doesn't want to do that. Quick video view, text introduction. It is a nice diagram. A nice diagram to show you. Let me draw it out if they don't have it. So we briefly talked yesterday, remember? I said there's a EC2 instance and there are like hundreds of EC2 instances. You remember that conversation from yesterday, right? And
Yes,
then we
Samir.
want to,
And the
want to
inventory
install
file.
something onto it or upgrade something on it. Then we'll keep one controller, and that controller is going to talk to these guys. Okay, that's the whole idea. So this is, and then there'll be an inventory file over here, and we will install Ansible only on this machine. It will talk to these guys over SSH. That is the overall architecture. There might be more, but at least to start with, that is good for us. What we will first do is we will go to installation. Okay, so let's go to installation, and over here you can pick up wherever you're going to be installing it to. So let's say next, and we will be doing it on CentOS type of. Let's go ahead and do SSH into that box first. Just for the sake of it, right? This is what we have to run, but just for the sake of it, let's do a quick Google on install Ansible on AWS Linux 2. So there is this Amazon Linux Extra install. So they have a different installation step. I want to check in the official documentation if they mention anything about AWS. Do you see anywhere AWS over here? No, right? I don't see anything here.
Can we search somewhere in the search
Yeah,
bar?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything over here. So I would believe it should be this. It should be this, but if I go in here, they do have this Amazon Linux extras, okay, which is very, very specific to Amazon instances. So instead of using that yum, they're using Amazon Linux extras, okay, which might make sense. Let's follow these guys. So let's go. I mean, the whole reason that I'm showing you documentation and moving it is that's how I want you to do if any new tech come in your area, right? I mean, how do you do? Go read the official documentation, go to YouTube, find vlogs that people are talking about. That's how you want to learn. No packages marked. That's good. Before I do this, I want to run that version command and show you it is not there, right? Okay.
Just version, not dash dash.
Dash dash.
Oh, dash dash. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, here itself, it said the Ansible command is not found. So, you know, Ansible is not installed. Okay. And now if I bring up that command, you see it, right? It's there. Okay, and the config file is located over here. Configured module search path is this. Python module is this. Executable location. I just want to make sure Python is there. Yeah, Python is there, so that's good. We can even install Python 3 if needed. It's
It got
compatible.
installed as part of Ansible, Samir?
I don't think so. Technically, the latest version of Ansible is compatible with Python 3, but I wouldn't be surprised it did. Okay, but my expectation was it will install Python 3 because it is compatible with Python 3. If it is going and installing Python 2.7, it is because we didn't install Python. So we can easily do that by going to the other instance, right? What is the IP address of the other instance? Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm getting the IP address of the second instance. Instance 2 is this. I'm just trying to see if Python comes out of the box. Yeah, it's there. You see that? So my guess was right. Why did I exit? Wait.
I think we have not connected to the instance.
It didn't connect, right?
Permission denied.
Why is the permission denied? One second, let me check.
Private public, Samir, private public. We
No,
made it.
private. I made private. Yes, I used
Oh.
private. Only thing is if Terraform has not been updated with the right security group, that might be it. Doesn't look like SG 06930 is security instance 1. So it is allowed to SSH. Why would it not work? This is something that we tested yesterday, right? So private IP. Let me first clear this jump.
We need to copy the public.
Private IP, right?
I mean that ID RSA public key into that instance.
Oh, we did that
Yeah,
manually.
yeah,
We did that
yes.
manually last time.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I think even that we should potentially automate using Terraform. Yeah, thanks so much for that.
Mansa, your memory is so good.
Yeah, so there's no public and private key over here, so we will have to generate it, correct?
Authorized keys.
You remember the command now, Mansa? 40 whatever. What was the number?
4016.
B flag and 4068.
SSH keygen minus T RSA 40.
Yeah. -B, then 4068.
Do you remember this, or you're reading from somewhere?
Just I remembered it.
All right, good. Yeah, I never have to do this, so I don't remember this. Cat ID.
Just Samir, here I have a small doubt.
Yeah.
Just by executing SSH-keygen, also we can create both public and private keys.
You can, but if you read that documentation which I sent yesterday, right, about SSH key, you'd come to know there are two types of algorithms, RSA and there's a DSA. Okay, so RSA is,
yeah.
So RSA and what is the B flag for Mansa?
Yeah, for encryption. By default, it will encrypt using 2034 or something.
2048, I believe.
Yeah, if you want to increase the encryption level, you should use this.
Yeah. So we are just making it a little more harder. Yes. Key is the short answer to you.
Yes.
Okay, so I will pick this guy up from here and go to. Now the question would be, I will have to update. So,
otherwise, yeah, Samir, directly we can copy, right, using SSH-copy-ID. if we
Yeah,
don't
but,
want to get the
but the
back.
thing is,
Yeah.
we are not even able to connect to EC2 instance from here at the moment, right?
Maybe we can connect, but it will ask for the password. That's it, right? No?
We are using the key, right? Tell me the command. I will do it. SSH
SSH-copy-ID.
ID. Okay. And then
Yeah, I think that's it.
City usually at the rate public IP.
Yeah.
public IP. of
Not
the
public
EC2
IP. No, private IP only.
This is where I'm thinking it will not even connect because our security group, will it work? Let's try.
Yeah.
Right, because otherwise even SSH would have worked, right, directly. It is the whole reason is we do not have a password. If you had a password, yes, it probably would have worked, but we don't have password enabled for this. We are
I
using the
think
keys.
instead of using SSH, the EC2 instance is private key. If we have it on this server, we can connect it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking.
The PPK or PEM file.
Correct. But let's try this. I don't think so even this will work because default it goes here. So see, that will not work. So I will have to connect to that instance. So for a moment, I will update the security group of EC2 instance 2 to allow. I mean, if you have any recommendation, please do recommend. I'm open for it. I will just allow for my IP for now, and then I will remove it. Instances. Just want to make sure I've copied this guy. And exit from here. Here I will use the public IP of EC2 instance 2 now. And then go and put the queue over here. So nano.ssh authorized keys. Edit here. Exit from here, go to the other one. And then I will remove the security group. First of all, let's see if we're able to connect. Now, hopefully this should work. Oh, because it's already installed, right? I just went there and I added, and that's why this was able to connect. You see that, Mansa?
Yes.
And then I can just do SSH from here. Yeah, that works. So I'm going to go update my security group and remove the access to public. Come on, where's my mouse gone? Okay, it's here. All right. Where are you, security group? The inbound rule and remove the public IP. Save the rule. Okay, so now we are back over here. I'm going to get out from here. And I'm back to place where we had installed Ansible. Okay, that's good. Now what we need is we need the inventory file. So let's, before we create an inventory file, let's go read the documentation. So text introduction is good enough. Selecting machines from inventory. So it's saying creating a basic inventory. From this basic inventory, edit or create etc Ansible host, add a new remote system to it. For example, use IP address or FQDM, fully qualified domain name. Okay, so we can use the IP that we were connecting, and then what I will do is I will create an inventory file, not in this etc Ansible host, but let's see. So this is the format basically what they have, which is the default. If we do not provide the inventory file, this is the inventory file it will go to. Okay, but there is a way for us to define the inventory file while running the command. I just want to make sure if they have given that example. If they have given, we can go directly do that, but they are not doing it. They are not passing the inventory file name. So just for the sake of you following this documentation to start with, let's go update this same file. Not name, nano. Okay, over here, the only reason I'm doing it is because everything else is commented out. So I was thinking there will be something in there which I didn't want to touch as a default, but there's nothing there. So let's go ahead and bring the IP address of the EC2 instance to
Private IP address.
Yeah. So I'll bring the private IP address and I will put it over here. Okay. I can either put that, or there's a fully qualified domain name which is there under that private IP DNS name. If you want to, you can bring in there that also. But this should be okay to start with. I know what I did. I didn't put a sudo. Okay, got out. If I do cat of that IP address is there. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is go back to the documentation. I want you to read through this when you get some time. So connecting to the remote node, SSH should be enabled. Everything that we have already done is what they're talking about. Now what I want to do is I want to call a very simple Ansible module called ping. Okay, so that's the command. Let's see if it works. See that? Success. So it is pinging that IP address 172.31.94.224. Okay, and it came back with success. That means it is able to connect to that machine. What I would want to do in upcoming, first of all, we'll just work with two machines, one controller and one remote instance or node, whatever you call it, and work with modules basically to do what we need to do. So we are coming almost up with time, but I want you to go through this link here. I'll probably put it up in the description also of that. So that's a lot more, right? I mean, we should be able to create a inventory file and then pass the inventory file explicitly if we do not want to use the inventory file. There should be a -i command, which they would be using eventually down there. Then they're also showing you how to write an Ansible playbook, a very small Ansible playbook. We do have some time. Are you guys okay with a little overtime than 10:30?
Okay, Samir.
Or do you think this is simple enough for you to just go through and do it yourself?
I'm okay with anything. It's fine.
What about everybody else? This is very simple thing to do. Actually, there's nothing here. The only thing what we are doing first is we are running Ansible directly using our existing module. The module is called ping in this case, right? And then they're coming over here and say you can use -u as one way to specify the user to connect as. By default, Ansible uses SSH, which defaults to the current user. The reason this worked for us is because we have already set up a SSH connectivity between the two nodes. That's why it worked. But if you had an instance which had user ID and password in it, you should be able to specify the user ID and password. They haven't shown it yet over here. As we read on, we'll come to know how to do that. But what he's saying here is you should be able to pass -u to specify the user. Okay. Now let's move down. Now run a live command on all of your nodes. If you want to run some kind of a command, when you pass -m, it's the module that you're asking to be executed. Ping is a module basically, which is available. There are several more modules which are available in Ansible. We will touch base on some of them. But if you want to run a one-off script, for example, bin echo hello, it's saying you should be able to do this. Okay, so let's try that. See that? Hello. So you can run one-off commands on that remote machine. I mean, technically, when it said all, you should remember if in the inventory file, if they had more than one IP addresses, technically it is going and running this echo command on all of the instances. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Romana, are you following?
Yes.
Okay.
May-
I mean,
maybe
I don't want to, yeah, go ahead.
for this exercise where you're going to demo the inventory, this node where we have the inventory is the controller.
Right.
Maybe we have to add one more server, right? Some EC2 instance to
Yeah.
demo how we can push things from controller to all nodes.
Well, I mean, right now we are doing it from one node, which is controller, to the other node, which is the node that we want to work with, right? So that node that we want to work with, you can create as many nodes as you want. And if you put the IP addresses, first of all, set up SSH between all those nodes and go and add those in inventory. As soon as you say all and -a/this, it will go and run that command on all of them. So yes, if you want to test with all of them, see that it's running on all of the machines, you would want to create one more EC2 instance and then link it as a SSH connectivity to your controller machine. Is that what you're trying to ask?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So you can try to do it yourself after this, Romana. Let me know how it goes. Maybe everybody can try to do it. Okay, let's move to the next one. It's saying you should see output of each of the hosts like this. So if you want, let's go ahead and do that. I will bring up this one, go to main, and well, the thing is, as soon as I create EC2 instance, right, I'll have to connect to it and set up the SSH. I don't want to waste time right now, Romana, if you're okay with that.
Sure, Samir.
Right? But I want you to do it. It's a very simple thing, which we've already done with one instance, right? Create a instance 3, and then look at how you can create a SSH key on this instance as part of provisioning. There was in the previous Terraform script, if you go right, there's a provisioner block that I have actually commented out. Provisioner blocks allows us to run some commands on the EC2 instance, or you can even try if SSH keygen command would work as part of the user data. Okay, if it works, great. If it does not work, we should be able to use provisioner, and the keys that are used over here, we should be able to set up, read the public key and then set it up into this as authorized keys. Okay, are you understanding what I'm saying, or is it all bouncer?
I am understanding. Yes.
Everybody's
Yes,
understanding.
yes,
Yes,
So if you want to play around a little more with Ansible, right? Before you do anything with Ansible, try to see if we can do this. Create SSH key as part of creation of this instance 1, and see whether you can use that SSH key which was created in instance 1 and set up authorized keys in instance 2. That is something for you for Terraform. Okay, if you're able to do that, right, then you'll not have to log into each one of them, update the security group, and then remove the inbound rule from security group, so on and so forth. You'll not have to do that mess. You'll do everything as part of Terraform. So can you try to do that? I will also try to do it. And if I'm able to do it, I will probably push the changes, but it is a good for you to just Google through and find out if it's possible.
I think
I'm
I
pretty
did
sure.
it earlier, Samir.
What's that?
I think I did it earlier.
as part of Terraform?
Yes, I did
And-
it,
Okay,
but
can you,
right now I forgot.
Yeah.
I will practice it once again.
sure. Mansa, you?
I will try some.
Who
No.
was that? Was it Jyoti? Who said
Yeah,
that?
Jyoti, yes.
Your
Jyoti.
voices are so similar. I mean, I'm getting really confused. Okay, Jyoti, when did you do it? I thought you never learned Terraform.
I know Terraform, Samir. I have practiced myself. I have learned myself.
Okay, okay. So can you try to do that? Whatever I'm asking for. So that way you can have like 3 or 4 EC2 instances that you work with. And when you play with Ansible, it will become a lot more easier for you to see that, oh, you know what, I can create a group for instance 1, instance 2 and instance 3, and then I can have an instance 4 as a separate group. And when I run the Ansible command, I want to just install it on group 1. I will have a command. So instead of Ansible all right over here, you will be able to specify which group do you want to go to. So we haven't seen all of that. We will see it probably. So do you think this is interesting enough, Ansible, to spend some time looking at various options? Has anybody done Ansible earlier, or you haven't done Ansible?
I have practiced a lot, Samir, earlier, Ansible.
You have?
Yes, but
Okay.
in our project, we are not using this Ansible and Terraform. So in those days, I do not, I'm not going through these tools.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, at least we will look at Ansible to a point that, you know, we are able to use existing modules and then write simple playbooks. So playbook is nothing but you're getting more than one modules together into a single file, so that you're not going to run -m ping -m something else -m some other thing, so on and so forth, right? You don't want to do that. You want to combine all of that together into a playbook which will solve a problem. So that's what a playbook is. Okay. And then to run that playbook, you have this command called Ansible playbook mytask.yaml. Okay. So the whole thing that we did all, and then we did the tasks that we wanted to run, so on and so forth, right, can all be set up into playbook. So more or less, that is what Ansible does. But I want to spend some time really to do some of the things with you, so that later on, if you go through the documentation, you know what to go, where to find, how to find modules, how to write your own modules, so on and so forth. Okay, does that sound like a plan? So next time, we will complete Ansible, maybe just one session, and we'll complete Ansible and then move forward to Jenkins. So Jyoti and Mansa, do you think before we finish another session, like you have probably until when? You have the whole week before we come to Saturday. So do you think you'll be able to finish up with your Jenkins HA assignment?
Yes, Samir, we will start today itself.
Okay, just try it. Try your level best to complete it. So if you have a Jenkins instance that's running, right, and if you give me those steps, I will run it and I will set it up on my instance so that you don't have to bear the cost, and we all can use that instance, Jenkins instance, to work together. Okay. I mean, I can definitely go and install a one-off Jenkins master, but that is not going to get you anything. If we do a highly available Jenkins instance, right, you'll be able to look at how we have 2 masters fronted by a HA proxy or whatever proxy you have. And then if one master goes down in availability zone, how the second master takes over. So that kind of a thing is what I'm trying to get to. Okay, it's not a necessity of the course per se, but it will help you a lot when you actually work. If somebody asks you, this is what the architecture is, it'll help a lot. So that's the whole idea why I'm giving you the assignment. All right, I think we're done for today then. Let me stop the recording.